Welcome to the Verts podcast. I am your host, as always, Sonny Weaver. So we got a special show for you guys tonight. As we talked about on the last episode, we made a little bit of a format change. Here at the Verts podcast, now we're going to look at kind of the whole overriding theme about Madden. So it's not just about NBL anymore. Now we're looking at the community, the gameplay, everything that is Madden. In doing so, I'm really excited tonight. We got a great guest for you guys. He probably needs no introduction, but I'll go ahead and throw him one anyways. You guys may have seen him on his EA Sports TV show, twitch.tv /EA Sports Game Changers Live every Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern. Or you may be following him on Twitter at Shopmaster, #CFM Movement. The man that really, like I said, doesn't need an introduction, but I threw him one anyways. Shopmaster, what you doing?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm so glad to have you here. You know, me as somebody who really appreciates CFM, I've been following you for a long time, and so to get you on the show tonight, I know we got some people that are excited to hear what you have to say and look forward to what we're going to do. So you're a busy man, aren't you?
Oh man, I'm real busy, too busy.
I mean,
People always ask me. It's funny. Somebody asked me yesterday. It was like, man, how do you do everything that you do? You're in like 3 leagues, and you stream, you do a show every Tuesday. How do you do it? Just great support from my family.
man,
Allows
that's
me
good to
to
hear. I
follow my
know,
passion.
I know I've watched you a long time. You know, you used to have the radio show. I even called into that back in the day. So, you know, you've been a busy man. But, you know, the one thing that I think sticks out to most people in their minds when they think about you is being an EA game changer. For our fans that don't actually know what that is, give us a little bit of background about what an EA game changer is.
All right, so what a EA Sports Game Changer is someone who is, well, I like to call them the voices for the community. And that's what I sort of pit myself as, the voice of the Madden community. We're sort of like the middlemen between the community and EA. And what an EA Sports Game Changer does is he gives feedback to EA about the games, not just Madden, but all EA games from PGA to NHL to Need for Speed, Battlefield. We have game changers in probably every EA Sports game or EA game that there is. One of the cool things is that we get invited down to EA in Orlando to play the game early, to give feedback. I mean, before the games are even playable sometimes. We come down there to give feedback about what they want to put in the game, what the community is thinking about, and sort of we're there to, be the voice for the community.
So I'm not going to beat you up too bad on that because I know you guys had to sign your NDAs and you can't be releasing any information. But a
Right,
couple things
right.
I want to hit on. You know, some say that there's game changers in the community right now that they're not really the voice. They're using it more as a status symbol. There's some guys out there that maybe more than representing the community, they use it to try and maybe further themselves. What would you have to say about that?
Yeah, I never thought of using, being an EA Sports Game Changer as, to voice or to boost my stature. I do think, however, that being an EA Sports Game Changer, you put yourself out there. So you put yourself out there to criticism. You put yourself out there for anything that the community has to offer. And the one thing that I try to do is not about my agenda. It's not about what I want. It's about what the community wants. There have been plenty of things that I'm just like the community says that they want, or a particular person says, hey, I really want this. And it's not up to me to say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. They're all good ideas. If that's what the community wants, that's what they want. We go pitch it to the developers and say, hey, this is what the community is asking for. As far as those who are game changers who are trying to just boost their status, you can have the status. I've been doing this for over a decade. So um, it's no status. It's just being passionate about what you love. I'm passionate about the game. I want the game to be better, and I think I can say for the most part, game changers want the game to be better.
So you said you've been doing this for over a decade, which means over that time period you've gone through specifically in Madden different development teams, right?
Correct.
So, kind of, I think the feel right now is the current development team, maybe, and it's just the way they've interacted with the community, they seem to be more receptive. I think, especially with, you saw updates and fixes run all the way through this year, and it felt like rather than just putting out a Madden title and rolling to the next one, Rex and his team really wanted to get this one right. Is that kind of the feel you guys get?
Yeah, but I also feel like that has gone through, there's been certain phases. So let me sort of give you some background. My first actual community day was in 2004 when Mike Vick was on the cover. And back then, community day was nothing but they brought in guys who had websites, Madden websites. They brought them in, and there was no feedback. It was they brought us in August and said, "Here's the game. We're giving you a sneak peek. We're going to give you a copy on your way out the door, and then you go to your respective communities and you talk about the game." And that had gone on, and it has sort of evolved to what it is today, where now we're more of a voice giving feedback to developers well ahead of time. Now, again, with going through those phases, developers have changed too. And I think we have become such a voice, and the man community has become such a voice that they had to find a way to sort of listen to the community without, of course, they can't bring everyone down there. So they developed this program to do that. But before it was called EA Community Leaders. And again, we went down there more or less to promote the game. And now it's evolved to where we are, sort of voicing our feedback from the community to the developers. So it's been a growing process over the years I've been doing it. Has had many titles. It wasn't always Game Changers. It was different titles before that, but I think Game Changers sort of has evolved to where now, you know what, we're giving the feedback. We're trying to change the game.
So, so you mentioned going down there, right? And I'm sure you got some great stories, right? And I'm not going to press you too much.
All
So
right.
but you got to say, there was one idea somebody threw out once upon a time that made you just go, "What the," and then stop. So you gotta let me know. You don't have to name names. You don't have to throw anybody under the bus. But what's the one idea somebody said that just made you stop for a second, kind of chuckle inside? Maybe not to their face, but just chuckle inside, like, Psh, yeah, okay.
You know what? I really can't name a specific thing that has really made me chuckle because again, I've for a long time I've been about, hey, I'm just a middle person. I'm just lucky enough to be in this position to give feedback to the developers. Um, I don't know. That's a tough.
Oh, you
That's a
had to
tough.
have relayed one that you're just like, I'm embarrassed to even say this right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it anyways because it's my job.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I've heard some crazy things like you know, let us let us be the cheerleader or create a cheerleader. Like really, we want to create cheerleaders now.
Now let's not knock that. I'm okay with that. Can we face scan them in? I mean, what? How far are we gonna go with this?
Look, this is not weird. This is not weird science. You're not going to create, Kelly LeBrock and put her in Madden. I mean, but to me, it's about. I think a lot of times people give ideas not really thinking, big picture, and I think that's one of the things that I struggle with personally is, people want certain things, and they might not be as big or as problems as some other issues, but I still try to give them to the developers and tell them, hey, look, this guy really wants to create cheerleaders. I mean, is that possible? Can we get to that point? And the developers will say, shop, not on your life. We're not that route.
That
And
was
I'm
kind
just
of
like, okay.
that was my next question. Is can you kind of tell when a developer when you guys are throwing out ideas? I mean, do they all just put their head down writing in notebooks, or do some of them kind of look up and like aha moments, or do they go yeah there's like you said that's not happening.
No, there have been a lot of aha moments. There have been a lot of heated moments where, and I remember one time when we were NCAA football, and there was a problem with the playbooks, and we were like, "Yo, you have to fix this." And they were trying to, say, "Oh no, maybe we'll fix it next year." And we're just like, "No, nuh-uh, no, this needs to be fixed this year. You have to fix it, or the community is going to explode." And that's one of the things that lately, um, the developers and EA have been really asking us is, okay, what is the must have for the community? And that's why I'm always talking about, yo, we need to prioritize, these wish lists, because there's going to come a time where, for instance, just recently, confidence. I had never heard anybody talk about confidence in Madden, and then we get down there, and confidence is in the game, and we're like, okay, this seems okay. When they first presented, they presented, everybody has a certain level of confidence and everything, which sounds good, but there are other things I feel, and the community feels, that should take a higher precedence. And so that's the struggle between us and the developers.
All right, so history, 10 plus years, you've been in a bunch of different games, and you don't have to hold this one to Madden. I'd like you to, but you can get a little wild with this one. What's the one idea that you were just dead set had to be in a game? Now, whether it got in or not, what was the idea that you thought was the greatest idea you'd ever come up with? And, whether it got in there or not, I mean, you were just ready to sell out for it.
So I've actually had a couple of ideas make it into the game. But one that didn't make it into the game, and you know what, I'm still holding out for, and it's spectator mode. I and for Madden, and I just can't understand for the life of me why we don't have spectator mode in Madden. I mean, I know why, but I'm just like, yo, we gotta have it. People love watching people play Madden. I
Yeah,
mean, just absolutely love it. I have a friend who doesn't play Madden, but will subscribe to every Madden Twitch stream out there because he loves watching people play.
yeah, I mean that's for sure. And I know Twitch, like you said, Twitch is where everybody's at right now, but it's
Right.
so unreliable, and there's always issues, and so yeah, spectator mode would be a great idea. You mentioned you got a couple into the game. What'd you get into the game?
So back when they were doing the option, this wasn't last year, a couple years ago. Um, when they first showed it to us, it was a dice roll on whether the defensive end went for the quarterback or went for the running back, or it was, depending on that quarterback's attributes, on whether that uh, defensive end went for the running back or contained the quarterback. So I said, you know what? Why not put something before the snap, a pre-snap button that says, "Hey, if it's an option, I want the defensive end to attack the quarterback," or if it's a or I want the defensive end to attack the running back. Because what was happening through our testing, people would put in, slow quarterbacks, and the defensive end would go for the quarterback, and you're like, why would he go for that quarterback? Like, that quarterback is no threat. He should go for the running back. So that was one of the ideas that I personally gave feedback on, and it got in the game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Those options when they first came in the game, I was running 30-yard options with Peyton Manning. There was a lot of things going on there that needed some work, but definitely glad to get the pre defensive snap adjustment in there. So moving away from the game changer stuff, let's talk a little bit about what it is you do. Obviously, you got the twitch.tv/EA Sports Game Changer Live Tuesdays 9 Eastern Standard. You got your Twitter, you've got your website. The CFM movement. Now that's a hashtag that's picked up some steam, and it's used to really promote the CFM mode. Tell us about the CFM movement and kind of what attracted you to CFM to really push that.
So I'm a big competitive guy, and I love playing franchise mode with 31 other players. And the CFM movement probably came about because I felt that there was a lack of attention to CFM, especially when Mutt came out. So when Mutt came out, that's actually when I started saying, okay, look, I know Mutt makes money for you guys, but you guys need to pay attention to CFM. Like it really, is a great mode that could be so much better if it got the attention that it deserves. And so I started a hashtag CFM movement, created the website, and have been really pushing it because I think it does deserve attention. And every time somebody tweets it out, you know, I got the developers, always saying, "Oh, I see your hashtag CFM movement everywhere now." So it's definitely doing its job.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, we're part of the Madden Bomber League, and we CFM movement hashtag everything. Because I'll tell you what, we're big supporters of that. We love what it is you're pushing. We think CFM's it could be big. It could be everything the show is and more. We want to keep pushing, and we want to keep getting more and more customization in it. So we appreciate what you're doing there. You talk about it all the time on your show. But for maybe some of our listeners that don't get a chance to listen to it all the time, but what do you think is the one mode that is lacking the most inside of CFM specifically?
I think game prep, and it's actually the subject of my next episode, Game Changers Live. I feel like game prep is underutilized, so underutilized, and I'm really hoping that EA does something about it. I mean, I think I was initially frustrated because I have in one of my leagues the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and there are zero drills for wide receivers. I have Mike Evans, and I can't develop him fast enough because there's no wide receiver drills in game prep. So that has to be to me. We fought last year to get free practice, which we got, but I still feel like it's very underutilized. And you'll see tomorrow, I have, you know, some very good ideas that will make game prep so much better.
So let me throw you one at you here, and you can take this one, and maybe Rex and his boys are watching this, and they can steal it too. I'll let anybody use it that wants to, right? Game prep, to me, I think should be actually preparing for your next opponent. So if you're in a CFM, right, I want to see the 10 plays that the person you're going to play runs the most. So I run 10 plays against your defense that you run the most. I run 10 offensive or run 10 defensive plays against the 10 offensive plays you run the most. If I complete that, I get some XP for everybody, right? And then move more of the XP generating stuff to maybe a training camp, rookie mini camp. And that's where you generate most of your XP, with more of the game prep being, okay, you do this, you get a little bit of advantage playing your opponent next week because you've seen some of his money plays, quote unquote.
Right. I mean, it's like you've been looking at my slides that I've been working on.
Oh shit. Okay, spoiler alert for tomorrow. All right, spoiler alert for everybody.
Nah, but you're completely right. Game prep should be preparing you for your next game. One of the things you'll see on my show tomorrow are just, I don't know if you've ever played or used the Xbox glass when you play your Madden game.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what game prep should be. Like, I should see all your tendencies. I should see when it's third and long, who do you like to throw to? When, which side do you like to run the most? Like you said, what plays do you run the most? What's your favorite running play? What's your favorite passing play? I mean, if you just add stuff like that, it makes the game so much better because people will be prepared, and then you'll have to adjust because your opponent has seen your stuff. So, again, I'll talk about it on the show tomorrow, but that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah, like you said, that's what you're already thinking. I think a lot of us hardcore CFM guys, that they all feel the same way. So it's great to have somebody like you representing the community. Like you said, you've been doing it a long time, so we know we're in good hands with you at the home. I appreciate you coming on the show today. We'll have to get you back on here down the road. I'd love to talk to you more, pick your brain about some different things. I know you've got your own thoughts about preseason and things like that, and coordinators and all that stuff. So we'll try to get you back on the show sometime. But you're a busy man, so I'll let you go. Thanks for coming on the show today.
All right. Well, thank you. I'll come on anytime you guys need me. I love talking Madden. I love talking CFM. So, guys, make sure you keep that hashtag CFM movement going. Check me out every Tuesday on twitch.tv/EA Sports, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll keep this thing rolling, and hopefully we get a better CFM franchise mode as we keep going.
All right. Thanks, Shop.
All right. Thank you, man.
I don't know about you guys, but that was a lot of fun. I appreciate having Shopmaster on here, giving us some insight in how EA Game Changers work, as well as talking about the CFM movement a little bit. CFM movement's definitely near and dear to my heart. NBL, the greatest league in the world. We really support the CFM movement. I think CFM is probably the most underrated mode in Madden. You got a lot of guys that are mud or just exhibition players, but CFM, to build something from scratch and take it all the way, it's a great feeling. So really appreciate Shopmaster coming on. We'll have to get him back on the show sometime soon. If you guys are here right now, obviously you're on the MBL network. We got some great content outside the Verts podcast. Make sure you check out the Extra Point podcast as well as the 2-point conversion. We got some great highlights as well as some game play by play that you guys can watch. Also, make sure you follow me at T4Verts for some more show information. We got a great show coming up next week. We are going to have the owner of Daddy Leagues right here on the Verts podcast. We're going to talk about the way his website has helped shape the way the online sports games plays, not just Madden, but also MLB The Show. So make sure you follow us. Check out some more videos from the MBL network. For all of us here at the Verts podcast, I want to thank Shopmaster one last time for coming on the show, and we will see you next week.